All right, can you all hear me okay? Gonna do our stream for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We're gonna wait a little for some more people to come in. Get to go away. You all can still hear me okay, I hope. So, yeah, we'll give it about 5 or 10 minutes or so, and we'll do the drawing, but then I'll still stick around anyway because I like doing these streams. I haven't been able to for a long time though. Part of it being whenever YouTube basically made it where you had to have 1,000 subscribers to stream from your phone, which is how I prefer to stream because my web camera is not very good. Uh, hey Lucas, what's going on, buddy? So, and that's the main reason. And plus, I don't want to do them like every single week, but I want to at least try to start doing them maybe once a month or so, or every other week or something like that. But I definitely miss doing them. But like I said, the major thing was because I wasn't able to stream from my phone because you had to have 1,000 subscribers. But I have that now, so I am able to stream from my phone again. So, and I am gonna get like a better web camera and all that good stuff. But like I said, that's the main reason for it. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to do different types of things too. With we did like a gaming stream before, and possibly some drawing ones and things like that. So I'd like to do more streams for sure. And I definitely like interacting with you all. Hi, Keem. Let's see. Let me read yours. Yeah, but my main thing, like, it does get where it gets to be overwhelming if you do it every single week, especially if you have stuff coming up. I could maybe do them a different day or something, but it would always be around this time because this is whenever I get back from work and we babysit other kids and stuff, and like they've just left about 20 minutes ago or so. So like this is the perfect time for me to do it. I know I'm not going to hit everybody who watches my channel in this time slot though, because I have people all over the place who watch my channel. So I know that for some of you it's later, some of you it's earlier, but this is just the slot that works for me. Especially I'm married and I've got 3 kids, and that's part of what I got to work around too. So, but thanks for putting the looks on there, guys. I really appreciate that. So, let's see. Let me see if I missed any other comments here. No, I haven't missed any. If you've been in here prior, before the stream even started, just waiting. I appreciate that, and just being able to talk with you guys a little bit as well. I really appreciate that. So, I don't know. I'll give it a couple more minutes here before we do the drawing, I guess. But does anyone have any questions you want to do beforehand? Oh, you're very welcome, Super Fat Cat. Well, okay, great cornholio. Well, it's good to have you on here. I'm not sure what your name was before, but I've definitely some people too. Even they've changed profile pictures and stuff like that. So sometimes I'm able to recognize them because one or the other is still the same. But I know a few people have changed one or the other. Have you been reading What's in Future? What's in Future? What, Alec Marsh? Oh, Super Fat Cat. I have right now. I have probably at about 10 short boxes. Each one holds about 200 comics. So I don't know what's that put me at, like 2,000 or something like that. Plus I have like half a shelf of graphic novels as well. I used to have more books, but someone stole all my stuff when I moved up here. They sold everything I had back in Missouri without my permission. So now I only have my current stuff, and I've been slowly getting trades of my stuff I used to own. That was kind of like old school stuff. I'll read the chat from down here. I'm trying to read it from the phone, but it's going too fast on me. Um, nice, Nicholas. So you just went to NYCC. That's really cool. I don't think I'll ever get to go out there. I mean, I won't say never, but What's nice about being in the Seattle area is, I can literally just hop on a bus and I get to go to the con. There's no flying or any other thing like that. It's just super convenient. There's not a lot of investment on my end because, I don't make a ton of money by any stretch. So, but good for you. I'm glad you got some good signatures there. House of X and Powers of X 14th. Yes, I sure have. I've been enjoying it a lot. I haven't been picking up X-Men for a long, long time. It seems like they were just kind of going off on different tangents. I am kind of interested in the previous run just because it was sold as like the last X-Men story or whatever. But definitely Hickman is doing amazing things with Powers of X and House of X, or House and Powers of 10, which is, I guess, how you're supposed to say it. But definitely highly recommend that if you guys haven't been reading that at all. Um, do you watch other ASMR streamers? I mean, I watch them when they live stream. I don't know like particular like ones who just stream. I mean, the main one who I'm usually always on his streams with him is the ASMR Orion. I really appreciate his content. A while ago, I was able to get him a signed picture of Ren Wilson at Emerald City because he's a huge Office fan. So, and he made me one of his admins on his channel, so that was really cool of him. I mean, I do try to pop on every now and then for like Ghetto ASMRs and Matty Tingles and GB. Those are like the main. Tiaraguelo's ones as well. But that's really it. I think there's not a whole ton of them, but those are the ones I can think of that I've been, uh, an audience member in the past on. Let's see. Oh, you 3 books, Super Fat Cat. Well, you got to start somewhere, man. That's okay. Notorious Pigman. Oh, okay. I think I do recall that. Oh, so I haven't heard of that, Alec. I'll check that out though for sure. It's the Arthurian. It's like a medieval King Arthur sort of thing. That's cool. Oh, cool. Pewdie Jr. is back. Thanks so much, buddy. Just ordered the House Film trade. Awesome. Def Shots. Hello, buddy. Um. Oh, cool. Yeah. So you see the same streams I do. Then great, Cornholly. Awesome. If you could do crossover with the Bull with any mainline hero, who would you like him to appear alongside of, DC or Marvel? Well, I mean, both of those, Batman and Captain America are very close, as in my favorite hero. Basically, I got a Captain America toy for Christmas in 1990 when I was like 5 years old or whatever. And so that is what pushed me to start collecting Captain America. But around that same time is when the whole Tim Burton Batmania occurred too. So it was really close between Batman and Captain America. I would say they would share top spot for my favorite superhero. So if the Bull could team up with any hero, it would be those two guys. Oh, cool! You met ASMR Ryan once. That's cool. Nice. To these 13 here, you're the real ones. Well, I appreciate that. Good to be back, Nicholas. Long hello. Yeah, that's definitely. I used to have that. I don't have it anymore. It's super frustrating. I especially like to do it for like a reading of this channel and stuff. And Tim Sell usually comes out in Emerald City every single year or every other year. So I've met him quite a few times, and like I don't have a signature on that book, and I don't have that book. But oddly enough, like I've read most of his stuff, and I have met him multiple times. But and that's one of the books is a Tim Sale book, but not that one. But that's a classic for sure. Oh, cool. So you're gonna watch the Joker movie. I definitely want to see that. I'm not. I don't know if I'm gonna see it in theaters or not. It just depends how the money situation works out. Keem, did you? Oh, there's a Sandman show coming out for Netflix. That's cool. I did not know that. Okay, so we're 9 minutes in. I guess we can go ahead to the drawing now. I don't want to keep you all waiting too long if you've just tuned for the drawing. 5 or 10 minutes is usually a good waiting time, but I put all the names in my nice little Captain America soup container here. There's your ASMR for you. A little tapping there. Okay, so let's see. Who do we have? So we'll go. Here's our paper here. So it is Lee Mino, He's not even in here yet, but I will reach out to Lee Mino and let him know that he won. So congratulations. If I do not get in touch with him, I'll draw a second name, and basically I'll respond on the previous on the giveaway video. Hey, you won, and basically just email me at jaketheartist@yahoo.com. As giveaway winner with your information. I'll mail you out your stuff. So I'll do a second name in case Lee does not contact me, just because it's always good to have a contingency, right? Okay, so I've got a second one right here. This one says Mayo ASMR. Not another one who's not a regular, but like I said, I will put it between these guys. Lee, if you get to me, great. If not, it'll go to Mayo. And if that doesn't happen, we'll probably end up in this. I'll keep these handy in here if none of them claims the prize. But so cool, we have our winner. So thank you so much. If that's what you're here for that. But we're going to do another one of these. I would say let's shoot for the next one to be at 3,000. I know that sounds crazy, but you know the main thing is just to keep it growing. It's to encourage you guys to share and tell other people about it so we can get it bigger and bigger. So I can do more great things like this too. I'll probably do like a smaller giveaway before we get to 3,000 though, because I mean it takes a while. Like this was over 2 years worth of signatures from Emerald City for people. As soon as I started doing the channel, that's when I started collecting signatures for you guys, for my audience. So I like to compile these and just kind of keep them in a nice, dry, clean space or whatever, away from everything else, just earmarked as your guys' stuff. So I don't know, who's to say at the next year I could meet a ton more people. I know that the Emerald City tickets go on sale. I believe it's the 23rd of October, and I want to say in March is when it happens. It's on their website, right over emeraldcitycomiccon.com. And I know Jim Lee is going to be there, so I will be getting a Jim Lee book to give away for the next one. So you can count on that, because the last time I met him was before I had this channel. So, all right, let me go back to reading these comments here. Yeah, thank you so much, Fat Cat. I appreciate that. And a little 3 Ray, hey buddy, we just did the drawing, but thanks for coming out. We're still gonna keep going. We're gonna stream for about an hour here, or until you guys run out of things you want to ask me and stuff. So, what's my favorite Jim Lee book? I mean, I would have to say, if I want to go for overall content, I would probably say the Batman Hush storyline is my favorite Jim Lee thing. As far as if we're going for like nostalgia's sake and all that, I would say the X-Men run that he did. But it's funny because whenever you look back at, everyone looks at like that X-Men #1, which was like one of the highest selling books ever, and stuff like that. And I believe he only did like maybe 6 or 7 issues of X-Men, and then they handed it off to different artists. So, who's my favorite artist? I mean, if we want to go all time, I throw it to Jack Kirby, just because like when I was super little, my first contact really with the book was like a library book about Captain America that had different collections of reprinted comics in it, and I really loved how dynamic and bright and just his art just really stuck with me. And there was something about it. There are things about it that I think people always have something to complain about, essentially. Like, you'll say, oh, he draws faces weird or whatever, but he did a lot of things that had never been done in comics. Like all the fine detail. Like, people know like the Kirby Crackle thing. Like, he did that. He like mastered like how splash pages are made and stuff. Before, they would just really do the smaller boxes and keep everything kind of tight and contained. But he was able to like really just see outside of the squares. He was able to just create something that no one ever thought. And if you look at the early days, you can see where he started, like how everyone else started. But when you see the innovation, when you see where whatever him and Stan Lee were just playing essentially, like they're just like, oh, what do you want to make up this time? And then they would just go back and forth, and he helped visually create like the Fantastic Four, and resurfacing Captain America. He did create Captain America originally, though. Stan Lee was only responsible for whenever they thawed out Captain America, but in the 40s. But he's my favorite of all time. Like, there's definitely a lot of artists I enjoy. It's hard to pick just one, but like I said, my reasoning being like just the fact that he was really my first exposure to comics, and then just seeing how much he innovated and all of the work that he's done. Okay, Keem, well, you take care, buddy. Good seeing you. Let me keep reading some of these here. Um, Independence, have you heard of Man in Black by Cullen Bunn? I've heard of Cullen Bunn. I haven't heard of that story. And I've heard of Middle West, and I do like Scotty Young, but I haven't read that book. But I do want to check that out. Okay. Comic book writer, I mean, once again, that goes back with the whole sophistication and stuff. It's I don't know, sometimes I feel like the writers, they get in a flow of like where they can write something specific that just works. Like Claremont, he just blew the doors off when he wrote X-Men. Incredible writer. Like he was made to write X-Men, and that's what he did. So he's definitely one of my favorite writers. Steve Epting, I loved how he was able to ground Captain America and make it really gritty and believable, and just do all sorts of things that I remember, like, just in my head I would always be thinking up random like what if stories and stuff. And whenever he started to write Captain America, like the first issue, he killed the Red Skull, and then they brought back Bucky, which technically was an issue 1, but it wasn't like common knowledge until issue 4 of that run, I believe, or something like that. But for him to do those two things, kill Red Skull and bring back Bucky, those were things like people have always been like, you could do that, but you should never do that. But he didn't care. And the cool thing with that is, even when Captain America got killed too, they picked it right up where Bucky had the mantle, and they continued the ongoing monthly Captain America book without Steve Rogers, and it was compelling and was entertaining and interesting, even without having Steve Rogers in it. It was still a really well written book with Brubaker writing. Did I say Epting before, by the way? He is the artist. But so Ed Brubaker on Captain America. I think Bendis's run on Daredevil, incredible. Once again, like I feel like he was made to write that street level, like hardcore gritty crime drama. Like I feel like he really did a good job with Daredevil. I see a lot of other stuff he does when he's written for X-Men and things like that, and there's a lot more like conversational things than there is, like, I don't know, there's more reality grounded to it. So it's like he's kind of like taken a back seat to, like, I guess, like the crime level of it, and just kind of looked at like dialogue. And his dialogue is fun, but sometimes I feel like it doesn't fit for the heroes, but it worked for Daredevil for sure. So I want to acknowledge. All right, Alec, you take care, buddy. Have a good night. Let's see here. Who else? I'm blanking now. Joss Whedon on The Astonishing X-Men. Same thing. Like, he had really sharp dialogue. He did a really interesting story. It only was about, what was it? I want to say 24 issues that him and the guy now. Wow. But there's only like 20 or so issues that he did with the other guy, and I mean, it was an incredible story. One of my favorite X-Men stories of all time. Ultimate Universe that Bendis did. I didn't read a lot of it. I know, like, that's where that was one of the highest selling books that Marvel had ever done, and so his focus there was to have Spidey be a teenager again, Later on is where they introduced Miles Morales in there and stuff like that. I didn't read it too much. I can appreciate for what it was. I like that they innovated. Um, but I didn't read it a lot. I am interested in it though. I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed that. They did a lot of things that were kind of taboo in there. I liked how over the top and like gruff they made Captain America in there. He was still had like his traditional values, but he was really hardened from like the war that I felt. And so, he would say a lot of just kind of out there things with the whole thing. I think he's like punching someone, and they told him to surrender or something, and he pointed to his A on his mask, and he said, "Do you think this A on my head stands for France?" Because they're like surrender. So I thought that was funny. And then later on, whenever Jason Aaron did the ultimate interpretation of him again, was just the same character. They brought it over, and then the end of that story, he reads the Bible to this guy who, whenever he captured Cap earlier, he's reading basically textbooks about all the failures in American history with like Watergate and everything like that, and so it was kind of like shoe on the other foot to this guy who was like in the hospital bed and couldn't move, so he's just reading the Bible to him. I thought that was genius. Um, Oh, what's the best story you've read? I don't know. I mean, I've read so much stuff. It's hard to say. Um, but I have read. I used to own everything from 200 to now, but I don't anymore. Um, like I said, it's really hard to top. Brubaker's run right now is my favorite that I've ever read for Captain America. Um, I would say that Dennis O'Neill's Batman stuff is probably some of the best, with like Ra's al Ghul and all the things he did there, uh, Man Bat and all that stuff. Frank Miller's stuff is really great. Any characters I don't like. Now, when I think about that, I mean, I've never really gotten into like a lot of like the people like Dracula or like the Tomb of Dracula book or Blade or Man Thing. I do like Swamp Thing. Um, just I guess some of like the horror books. I'm not really a huge horror guy. I do like The Walking Dead. I haven't finished the whole series though. Um, I don't really care like for Iron Fist or Shang-Chi or any of those guys really. But I mean like they're grounded in a lot of the same type of villains that Daredevil fights, but I don't, I can't get into those guys for whatever reason. Um, I've never really gotten to like Ghost Rider. I like the old one better than the new one, but that's where I'm at with the current run of the Avengers book. They're really talking up like Cosmic Ghost Rider and current Ghost Rider who drives like a hot rod instead of like a motorcycle, and he doesn't want to be Ghost Rider. Like I don't care about any of those guys, so it's hard for me to get into the Avengers book right now because they're focused on the horror side of things as opposed to the typical your Trinity, your Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. Let's see. X-Men. Okay, you're not a huge X-Men fan. I would say definitely try to pick up whenever like Claremont and John Byrne slash Dave Cockrum were working on it, like the Dark Phoenix stuff, Phoenix Saga. Um, Probably, I mean, you could probably do with like Jim Lee Claremont stuff. Would you enjoy that? I think like the '90s X-Men, the early '90s X-Men is pretty enjoyable. I really love what brought me back to it a little bit was the Mutant Messiah. It was right around whenever Marvel was doing all of like their event books. Like it was right after like Civil War. They did House of M, which is when the Scarlet Witch uttered a curse, which was no more mutants, and it like depowered all the mutants except for like 192 of them, and no mutant could like give birth to another mutant or anything like that. But there was just like a blip on the radar of this baby who appeared, who was a mutant. And so basically there were the different factions like the X-Men and like the Brotherhood and all of like the different groups that were left with their small numbers after that curse were trying to get to this kid. And so it was like a race to them trying to get to the child. And so like I really, really loved that story. I loved how everything was woven together between like all the books seamlessly. I felt like all the writers and stuff were like talking to each other really well. I'm not quite sure how they orchestrate big events. A lot of times they don't work when they cross over between multiple series, but I felt like that one really did. And after that, it spun out into like Cable's own book, and I read all the Cable stuff. And then there was an X-Force book that Clayton Crane worked on that was incredible. Like all those books were just really good. So I can recommend those. I think you'd be highly entertained with those. They're semi-modern. It came out around I want to say 2007 or something like that. So I can recommend those. Check out House of M, followed by the Messiah War or Messiah Complex. It's one of the two. If you Google it, I'm sure you'll find it. Yeah, I think the main thing I appreciated the fact that it raised the stakes. I know something that was kind of jarring was over like all of them stuff. So I remember that issue. It was right in the middle of Brubaker's Captain America stuff. It was issue number 12 or 13 or something like that. Was essentially like a what if whenever the thing got uttered that Steve Rogers somehow something happened where Steve Rogers aged all the way, so it had him like where he was an old man in present day. I think like he went to space and other weird stuff. It was like just really weird like what if story, and like it was entertaining and interesting, but I was frustrated because this was right in the middle of Brubaker's Captain America story, which he was telling, was just suddenly just this random one-off book. It wasn't what I wanted at the time, but they did that over several other books too. So that might be why, because they just kind of had like these one-shots thrown into the regular monthly comics, and I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. MCU there, Pewdie? Oh, and Pewdie, are you talking about the Spider-Man Decades? I finished that too. I read all those. I loved it right up until the last book. But I mean, it's to be expected. It was really about passing the torch in that one, and Peter had to go at some point, and so it ends on a somber note and kind of like cues up things for other characters and stuff. So I don't know. I don't think they'll carry it on. It was supposed to be like a contained mini series. So, but that was the thing. Like they just can't seem to help themselves about like, oh well, we could spin more series out into this. Like that's always seems to be the comic marketing strategy. You can read even a maxi series like like Dark Knight's Metal or whatever, and you're like, oh, that was really good, and then suddenly there's three other books with the Batman who laughs, and you're just like, is this still going? Like I enjoy that, but it's annoying because it's like, okay, how much do we have to sink in this to follow this brand new thing, and now it's just being retread. Yeah, I read that J.J. Abrams Spidey book. I was surprised. I did not expect it to have the things happen that happened. Um, I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't want to say much about it here and spoil it for people who haven't read it. I would say it's interesting. Check it out. I don't know if you'll want to read more of it after the first issue. I am, but it's one of those things. You definitely get like quite a gut punch from the thing. So, but yeah, it's kind of just its own. It's not on the regular Spider-Man continuity and stuff, and I mean it's just jarring. That's the best way I can describe it. So, oh, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Like Rebirth started, more or less Rebirth. Wow, wow. Rebirth started with more or less like Jeff Johns like spearheading rejuvenating the DC universe. And then they kind of just had him step back and do some other things. Basically, once Jeff Johns was no longer had his hand stirring the pot, stuff just kind of like did its own thing. I think like it started very strong, but where it's at now is not where it was, unfortunately. And then I saw your second comment here, PD, like the events take place during. Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Like they're really tripping up on the continuity of the Doomsday Clock, because that was the thing for the longest time. They're insisting like, oh, like this book is still in DC continuity, but it's these many years into the future or whatever. So it's like they have to keep delaying it so that they don't pull the curtain back before the book has come to its conclusion. And it's annoying. Like a Doomsday Clock is a quality book. I love the art. I love the writing. But a lot of people are turned off with the shipping schedules just all over the place. I think the last one came out. It wasn't even like supposed to be out yet. Even though the book has been out for 2 years now, but it used to be monthly and then it switched to bi-monthly. But you know what I mean. Basically, like the shops who got the book were like, oh, I guess we got Doomsday Clock this week, so I don't know. Only thing in yeah, the Three Jokers thing, and that's like, when is that coming? Apparently, and Jason Fabok is doing the art on that. I love his stuff. I wasn't huge on him at first, but he's really grown as an artist. I see a lot of David Finch in his stuff, and I definitely feel like he's become more confident as an artist, and I can see that in his work. Um, I know it's kind of hard to explain, but I can definitely see it when I look at his stuff. Like, I look at like his earlier work, and it's still good. It's all good. Like it's better than I could ever do. I'm pretty sure, but you can see it now compared to where it was, and it's even better. As amazing as that is, but he's supposed to be working on it, and I guess he said something the other day where he was talking about it, or he showed a cover, or I think he just showed like one of the panels from the book, and he was talking about how he was working on it. So it's in the works, but where is it? That's one of those things. I think we have to wait for Doomsday Clock to wrap, and then we'll get whatever happens afterwards. New Batman writer. He has done stuff in the past. He did the Detective Comics run for Rebirth for Batman, and that was really good. I loved that he had it where they had like, I'm trying to remember everything about the story, but more or less he had like a team he had set up beside like the regular Bat Family team. So he had like I know the biggest one. He threw Clayface into the fold, and I love that because Clayface is one of my favorite villains. But like I've said in the past, Clayface that I keep in my head is the one from the animated series and not the one from the comics. Matt Hagen is the one in the animated series. Basil Karloff or Carlo or whatever is the one in the comics. So anytime I read that Clayface, I always just picture the animated one. But the fact that he wove Clayface into the Bat Family as like a reformed villain was just really great. I loved everything he did, and of the eventual demise of Clayface as well. And then like he did like a annual, I guess, which was like a story about Clayface's origin or something like that. Really well done. I think he is going to do really well, and I look forward to what he does. And he did like the Ninja Turtles Batman stuff too, which I think is really fun. It doesn't fit anywhere in continuity, but it's really entertaining and enjoyable. So I have no doubt it will be a good run. Thoughts on Tom King's run? My thoughts on Tom King's run, he started really strong. When he started, basically, like, they pretty much were like, you do what you want to do, Tom. And I think he started off kind of safe. At where he's at now, I feel like it's hard to say what's even going to be considered as like, are we even in the regular 616 or Earth 52 or whatever the heck DC wants to consider? Are we in the regular timeline here? Is this some sort of alternate thing? Like, Bruce is just acting so uncharacteristic in the current Batman run. It's hard to really pinpoint. We had like 6 or 12 issues where the whole story was literally taking place like Batman was having nightmares or whatever. So I mean, it's hard to say if that might not still be going on, and the fact that early on they introduced the Psycho Pirate as being one of these villains helping Hugo Strange overthrow Gotham. This whole thing might be like a mirage from Psycho Pirate, which I'm not even really well versed in Psycho Pirate, but I know he screws with your head and can make you do and say things that you normally wouldn't. And so I think that there's a lot of that going on in the book right now. I think it's going to be one of those things, and they've told him, like, they're like, hey, before he was going to go to 100, and then for whatever reason, they pulled it back, and they're like, you're on 85 now. So, but he's still going to continue his Bat and Cat story in like a 12-part miniseries. So he's still going to tell his other issues. It just won't be the regular ongoing story, and I'm not sure if that's because they had new management at DC with, I'm trying to remember who bought it. Some telecommunication company I think bought part of it. I want to say AT&T merged something. So like that was one of the things that I think was part of it. Like the fact like that Mortal Hulk was outselling Batman for a couple months and stuff. I think whoever is running DC right now, maybe not the in-house people like Jim Lee and stuff, but whoever's on the outside, like these AT&T people, maybe they're like, okay, maybe we better rein Tom King in a little bit and bring in a different guy. Like, and I mean, who's to say really? But I'm entertained by Tom King's stuff, but it's hard to say for me if this is gonna be like regular continuity or what. But I miss Bruce being Bruce. Right now he's not Bruce. He is being someone else. So I mean, if you keep that in your mind right away, like, and I think he's just trying to break Batman as far as he can emotionally, mentally. You know, we've had his back broken before. He's gonna come back, and I'm sure he's gonna come out on top. But you know, we have to kind of slog through Bruce being the lowest he's ever want to be reminded of horrible feelings like they might personally be having, or you know, other things going on in their life. They come to comic to escape. They don't want that to weigh them down as well. Yeah, I do like the covers for sure. I like that they've been having like the artist variants and things like that. I really enjoy those. Um, I have noticed DC is starting to make more like the cardstock covers where they're artist covers. I'm sure they'll probably shift it over to where all the variants will be basically $1 more for the cardstock cover, just to kind of capitalize on that to put them ahead a little bit, I'm sure. But I do like the covers. I like how they have like the minimal amount of title on the bottom as opposed to just like the regular trade dress. It's a nice change. Yeah, I think you're right on that for sure, Sean. And I think like most people right now, that's the book they're most excited about. Everyone going into the comic shop right now is all about House and Powers of Ten for sure, absolutely. And yeah, I think that this is probably the most excited I've and the most unanimous I've heard people on a book right now. Definitely, what is it? I keep tripping because the name's so similar. I want to say Absolute Carnage is the new one. Like that one's really good too. I'm not hearing as many people positively praise it as X-Men though right now. But yeah, it's hard to say where. I don't know what would be considered DC's best book right now. I'm reading like the characters that should have those books. I'm reading like Superman and Batman, but those books are not the best that they have to offer. And if they are, that's that's not great. Um, okay, cool. Glad to hear that. 14th. Yeah, you won't be sorry. It's really entertaining. It's really interesting. It's totally different. My main thing is whenever you read it, just kind of I would make sure it's minimal distractions. Hickman is an intelligent writer, and he gives the readers more credit than a lot of other readers give us. I think like he knows we can handle an intelligent story, which is what I feel that those X-Men books are. So cool, Sean. You really like the X-Men, and that's why you're drawing. That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. So let's see. Yeah, for sure. Anytime a book is suddenly good that's been not great for many years, it's always a nice thing. That's how I felt whenever Brubaker was doing Captain America back in the day. Like, Captain America has had a lot of rough stories, and so whenever Epting and Brubaker were on it, I was so excited because it was actually a good book, and it was a book that people who wanted to even read Captain America were suddenly aware of and talking about. It was really cool. Yeah, Absolute Orange is amazing for sure. Yeah, I hear a lot of positive things about Flash. I haven't read a lot more, and you guys have requested me to do more readings of it on the channel here, so I definitely will. But I haven't read much of it. Although I don't know how it's shaping up with all of the stuff from I don't even know whatever the Tom King depressed superheroes book was, which is all three of them that he's writing, but you know which one. The Heroes in Crisis. Like they just ran the Flash through the mud on that one, Wally West. Yeah, Bucky Cap was good. I appreciate the fact like that they wasn't proud of and stuff and all that. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I think you're right on that 14th as far as the impact that House of Ten is. And I what's funny is I really feel like I mean they could have launched it a couple years ago. I feel like Hickman has been sitting on this and he's just been waiting for whoever was doing it to have whatever their agreement of issues was and then they just plopped him in and he did his thing. Yeah, I know Flash is definitely a powerful hero for sure, and I think a lot of people are more aware of him now, which I haven't watched a ton of the CW show either, but I hear good things about that too. So I'm sure some of it is spilling over into that. Maybe I'm not sure. Yeah, and then if I remember, that was the whole thing with what was it? Was it? I'm blanking in the '90s. Whenever they had the thing where basically the Flash saved the DC universe. Was it Zero Hour? I want to say. I think it was. I'm blanking, but I think that's what it was. And he saved the DC universe. That's what it came down to, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think that happens. When you have TV shows that have been on a while, it's they have to do something. They have to put ripples in the water, so to speak. Um, yeah, and I think it's like that with the comics too. It's hard for anyone to be consistent 100% of the time, But the main thing I think is to kind of get that feedback, If a story's not doing great, if you see those numbers, whether it's the viewers or it's people buying the book, you want to course correct. You don't want to be, stuck in your oh no, this thing's going to issue whatever, and we're just gonna do this thing even though 83%. Like get the feedback and make a book people are gonna want to read. Okay, yeah, Barry sacrificed himself in an infinite crisis to save DCU. Yeah, I just wasn't a huge fan of the direction they took with the Heroes in Crisis thing. Like, I just don't know. Like I think there, and I think what I heard is with the recent Flash book that's supposed to take place after that. It's like a special or whatever that they're kind of undoing or correcting a little bit off of what happened there, but I haven't read it, so I don't know. Yeah, I heard that Pewdie about all of like pretty much people from past DC stuff. They're just kind of having them drop in and do parts for the show. And then I know that what's his face? I'm blanking on everyone today. The voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy. He's gonna be Bruce Wayne for part of it. He's not gonna put on the costume or anything, but he's gonna be like old Bruce, from what I understand. So that's cool. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, yeah. And I think I did hear Mark Hamill's doing Old Man Joker too. So yeah, really interesting. And I'll probably try to watch that too, even though it won't make sense. But that's more or less like fan service, like in like they did the same thing too when they had like the old school Flash show up on the CW. It was the one from the old sci-fi Flash when he had like the foam red suit and all that, which what was John Wesley Ship, I want to say is his name. So really cool. It's always nice when there's Easter eggs like that. So you think I'll be able to understand it, Sean? I hope so. And I mean, like, I think I mean, if you read enough books and stuff, you can kind of understand. But you know, you know how it goes. Oh, you think he's actually gonna put on a bat suit? Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Thanks, Sean. When's it supposed to air? Like, I have no clue about any of that. Is it like a full-on like mini series thing, or is it just like a special one-night event? Yeah, I can't imagine they're gonna have an actual cowl on Kevin Conroy, but I mean, we'll see. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. I haven't really watched much. I saw like maybe a couple episodes of The Flash. Okay, an episode on each show. The are now how many shows are they doing right now? Oh, okay. Because I thought like I think was it Green Arrow canceled or something? Oh, there's four of them. Okay. Yeah. Gee, I wonder why this is the last Arrow season. Surely not the outcome of this event. Oh, okay. Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow is always the one I forget. Yeah, I would say so. I think that's safe to assume. No, he's going to be the only one that survives, and then all the other guys are going to die. They'll be like, gotcha. I don't think they'd be that sneaky. It'll be interesting to see all of like these random like the Disney Plus series too, with like WandaVision and all that stuff. But I don't. Their release schedule is weird though. Like they're not releasing all at once. You'll get like maybe one MCU show per year, or every quarter or something. Yeah, I don't think she'll be a part of it. It would be kind of odd just for her because the show hasn't started yet. So, but I don't know. Or it might be like she might appear at the end of it or something. Because you know how they do that too. They'll queue up the people to lead into the next thing. Yeah, the one thing I didn't know that the Marvel, the What If, I guess, thing for Disney Plus is actually going to be an animated series. If to my understanding, it's going to be like MCU type stuff. Like visually, the heroes are going to look like they looked in the MCU, but it's like a series of animated shorts for like what if scenarios, like Zombie Cap, and if Sharon Carter was Captain America, and I think those are the only two I personally know of that I've heard of. But yeah, it's supposed to be like they're supposed to be animated shorts as opposed to like a regular live action show like the others are. So we'll see what that's like. I do miss the Earth's Mightiest Hero Avengers cartoon, the one whenever they first started out, which was pretty heavily like Kirby inspired. I have like the first 4 seasons of it on DVD. Oh, she is okay. It'll be interesting to see what she does then. Because everyone else, I mean, I guess Arrow doesn't really have powers, but everyone else has powers there. So, oh, what of Charles Star Lord? Really? Well, I mean, they're kind of doing that with the whole Wakanda and space thing. Only that's regular continuity. So, and that makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, I have not been hearing good things about Batwoman. Please kill her. Yeah, I mean, like there are parts of her I enjoy in the comics. I liked whenever, like I said, it goes back to she was interesting because she was part of the whole Detective Comics thing that they did with Rebirth and all. She was part of that team, so I liked her in that, and she took I've like a lot of character development there, and basically like Batman was essentially going against her father, who was like running a private army and stuff. If I remember, I could be forgetting some things, but there are definitely interesting pieces to it that I enjoyed. Oh, it's Captain Britain. I thought it was Captain America. Oh well, but it makes sense because she is British intelligence, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting at the very least. I think it'll be fun to see the Easter eggs, even if I'm not 100% on the goings on of the CW. Oh, so it's Peggy. That's the thing too. Whenever you read the comics, everything just kind of bleeds over, and it's weird too. The fact that you know Captain America has a romantic relationship with Sharon Carter, and he had a romantic relationship with Peggy Carter as well. It's just really weird. So it's kind of hard to put those two things together. And then like in the MCU, he just stayed with Peggy. He never married Sharon. But in the ongoing stuff, it's him and Sharon. Yeah, that's what they're saying. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Um, like they still want to do all these weird like Spider-Man universe films, from what I hear, without Spider-Man in them though, like Morbius, or is it Morpheus or Morbius? I don't know. The vampire dude with the suction hands. I think it's Morbius. I'm pretty sure. But yes. So like they're gonna do those. Hopefully they're gonna have Venom interact with Spider-Man. I think that's what we're hoping for. Yeah, exactly, Beauty. That's the thing. These romantic relationships are just kind of. Yeah, that's good. I hope they do 14th. I really hope we see Spidey interact with them. I did just finish watching Far From Home. I was definitely surprised with how that movie ended for sure. It'll be fun to see how they spin it. Um, but the fact that there's already so much going with how Mysterio is deceptive and stuff, they could just hang a pin on that and be like, oh well, he doctored this like he doctored monsters, like it wasn't actually real, but still like even with that information, they'll be like, well, why did he single out, Peter Parker? So they'll have to do like a lot of damage control type of stuff to, make Peter seem pretty ordinary instead of, an exceptional student that he is with like science and stuff like that. So I don't know. That'll be fun to see how they get him out of that one. Yeah, I would love to see a Spider Verse with all the Spider Mans. That would be so cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed Tobey Maguire. Yeah, a lot of people don't care for him. Like he was the first Spider-Man. Like whenever we think of it, and I just watched like the third Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man with my middle child the other day, and he really enjoyed it. Definitely, they shoehorned a lot of things. I think the major thing with that movie, basically, like the director never wanted to tell a Venom story at all. They pushed him into that movie because everyone was kind of pressuring him into it. He really dug like the old Spider-Man villains, and that was the thing with it. Like they were really like everyone wants to see Venom, but like he just didn't want to do that, and I think it showed. And there was just too many villains and stuff in it, and then just kind of like the whole Green Goblin overload and stuff. And I don't even think he wanted like for the third one to be like have Green Goblin, or I think he wanted to have it be like Vulture be in the third one, if I remember, or something of that nature. And I think Chameleon was something he was toying with as well. Dark Knight trilogy, yeah, I enjoyed the Dark Knight trilogy. The thing I liked about it was like the realistic aspect of it, I guess. Um, I think that's the thing I appreciated the most. Aesthetically, I mean, I will always love like Tim Burton, Michael Keaton Batman. Like that was just, totally not really comic accurate or whatever you want to call it, but just very like stylized and memorable. And for me, like I was 4 years old when the first Batman came out, and like that really helped me like inspire me to create my own character, the Bull and stuff. A lot of visual of that Batman really informed my drawing of my character and stuff. So like I love the visuals of the Burton Batman. There's definitely a lot of uncharacteristic things, and like him torching the people with the back of his car in Batman Returns and all that stuff like that. But I love the visual style of those two Batman. So those were always have a. I think what ends up happening mostly is we usually get two good movies from like a franchise of superhero movies, like Spider-Man 1 and 2. I love Spider-Man 2. It's probably one of my favorite superhero movies. It was an exceptional film. And then same thing, we go with The Dark Knight. The Joker one is like the best one out of those. And then the third one suffers from the same. We've got a guy of villains, and we have to do callbacks to Scarecrow, and we have to do callbacks to Ra's al Ghul, and all this. Like, come on, just focus on a villain, tell the story with one villain, and have triumph over evil, or have there be a curveball like there was with Empire Strikes Back. Just something, but don't throw everything in the kitchen sink, especially if it's like the last movie. Just kind of let things resolve naturally if you can, and if there's a threat out there, oh well, then there's a threat out there. You don't need to have, Scarecrow show back up to be shoehorned in a movie where the focus is supposed to be not, oh, remember Scarecrow is. You don't need all that. Just focus on a single threat. You don't need so many things in it that it becomes bloated. You don't need to do that. I think that's what happens. Like they're always a good start, and then there's always a yes and thing, but it gets to be where there's too much. So let me go back. I was rambling. I didn't get to read one Vulture and Black Cat. I didn't hear the Black Cat part. The theme man for Batmania. Yeah, I'd be interested in a Scarecrow movie. Yeah, Anne Hathaway was a good Selena Kyle. She's very athletic as it is, so like I felt she was a good fit for that character for sure. I like that they kind of had to try to do like the goggles thing that was kind of. I don't know if Jim Lee was like the first person to put Catwoman in the goggles or not, but I know he certainly it became pretty well known after the Batman Hush story that everyone put goggles on her. So I like that they kind of had a little bit of that. I did like the Batman Returns Catwoman too, though. I think everyone did, but they were just fun. It was visually just stylistic and entertaining. wasn't 100% like the best storytelling, but it was entertaining. And I mean, I was even entertained by Batman Forever and Batman and Robin at the time. I mean, I was a little kid, and actually, what's funny is Batman and Robin was the only movie I've been to where they actually sold out of tickets for that movie when I went. So I had to go back like 3 hours later for like a 1 o'clock showing of Batman and Robin, which is bizarre because that's like the worst Batman movie, which did like the worst at the box office. But for me, I went to go watch that movie and it was sold out, and I had to go back at 1 a.m. So it's a fun memory, like, ridiculous, silly movie, but just really strange to have that be the memory. That's the Batman that I went to that was sold out, was that Batman. But it was entertaining, and it was pretty much a ad for the toys, and I bought every single one of those action figures. Yeah, for me, I always watched the first Batman all the time. When I was a kid, we didn't have many VHS tapes, and yeah, definitely Batman was one of the ones that I watched a ton. Toy Story, whenever Toy Story 1 came out on VHS, though, I watched that movie. I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. I watched that movie every single day for a year straight. So I did do that. I was just so impressed with the computer animation in it. All right. Well, we've been on for an hour. Is there anything you guys want to ask me or bring up or anything like that before we go here? Yeah, it was a really good movie for sure. And the fourth one just came out digitally. I know it's not going to be as great, obviously, as the original, because it's the original, but I'm still interested to check it out for sure. All right, we have a 1 minute warning here, so get your questions in now, or we're gonna wrap it up, okay? And like I said, I want to do another giveaway when we hit, but I don't remember what I said. I think I said 3,000. We'll do some smaller giveaways. Probably the next one might be maybe 1,500 or 2,000. Probably like a poster or something like that. Maybe. Do you like Star Wars? Yes, I do love Star Wars. I liked Star Wars. I think the thing for me, it was always easy for me to get wrapped up in Star Wars. Um, a lot of my response to stuff like since I'm an artist and everything like that, I'm huge into visuals. So for me, it's very easy for me to get wrapped up in the world of Star Wars because it's a very visual world. Like the aliens are really interesting looking, even with all like the weird gibberish talk they would have with the subtitles and all that. I was just, and I wasn't 100% sold on it. Like I did have to warm up to it even when I was little, but like I always was entertained by Star Wars more than I was Star Trek, and I think, like I said, the reason being because like visually it was so striking. So for me, yeah, ones I like the best, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite just because it ends on the note it ends on. There's just this element of, you know, this it makes you feel like how a movie shouldn't make you feel. Um, but it's like you're ready to watch the next one after you watch that one because you want to see how stuff happens. It leaves you wanting more. It, it doesn't wear out its welcome. I think the point where they're at now, it's not as special as it used to be. And even Disney, like they're like, okay, we need to not put these out every year. Everyone's getting burnout, so we kind of need to not do that. I'm glad they haven't. So, but I don't know. It definitely doesn't have the same magic it has anymore, unfortunately. But I mean, I'll always love the classic ones for sure. All right. Anyone have any other questions for me? All right, Pewdie, have a good night. All right, everyone else, we have a good night, okay? And like I said, we'll do this again, and I'll put a thing up to let you know when the stream's coming, so you can queue up and wait and all that stuff. But you have a good night. Thanks for sticking around. Definitely more content to come. I just love having these talks with you guys, and you all have a good night. Thanks. Bye. Good night, 14th.